Today, we're going to talk about how you're not behind, you're becoming. That's right. Because so often we feel like we're behind in life, we're behind in success, love, career, healing. But what if you're not actually behind? What if all you are is on time, becoming who you're meant to be? Welcome to Rooted and Rising. I'm your host, Mychelle, intuitive guide, storyteller, and fellow traveler on this wild path of becoming. This is a space for the soul led, for the ones unraveling old stories, tending to their healing, and rising, not perfectly, but powerfully into who they are here to be. Here we explore what it means to live with intention, to love with depth, and to trust that even the hard things are shaping us. I'll share pieces of my own journey, the cracks, the beauty, the breakthroughs, and invite voices who are walking this path too. Because I believe life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. So come as you are, root in and rise up. And thank you, truly thank you for being here. Today I'm excited because I have a beautiful guest with me by the name of Karen Oliver. And we're going to discuss this topic today, but a little bit about Karen. She's a dedicated master life coach and health coach. She has a strong commitment to empowering individuals in their personal and professional journeys, and her expertise lies in guiding her clients towards achieving their goals and improving their overall well being. In addition to coaching, she also operates a business academy specifically designed for entrepreneurs through her organization called WCD Coaching Inc., which stands for Women Committed to Dreams. Strives to provide resources and support for women that are pursuing entrepreneurial aspirations. Karen is also a rising author. She is the owner of Fearless Daughter's Dream Apparel and NKB Cosmetics. She hosts the We Dream Fearless podcast as well as Labor and Love podcast. So I'm excited to be sharing her with you today and excited about this opportunity for us to talk about this very topic. So, all right, welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited to have you. It's just amazing. And I love what you're up to and all the things you've created. And
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to share you with the guests here. So, we're talking about how you're not behind, you're becoming. And what I love about this topic, and I wanted to really dissect it with you, is because I feel so many people, I'll say women, because I know a lot of women listen to the show, but just people in general, where we feel behind. We
Yeah.
always feel like we're trying to get somewhere, trying to catch up, trying, like it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. We're chasing that carrot and often comparing ourselves to where other people are and to who they are versus, who we are. And so I want to open this up and just share some more and learn more about, maybe sometimes you felt that way, especially given that you work with so many women, you're coaching women. When you think of this topic, what comes up for you?
When I think of the topic that you just explained about, especially that's the norm, I think, Tara, for a lot of us, like we think that we're behind because
Mm-hmm.
we think that everybody else is ahead. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, we're comparing ourselves to everybody. So, just, being able to talk with other professional and individual women and some young men, I might even experience this with talking to some young men about this, but mostly women, they feel like they're behind because they're like, well, I feel like, hey, we're in the same niche, we're in the same area, we have similar things alike, our careers are sort of alike, but I feel like he or she is ahead of me. And I could sympathize with them because I have felt like that when I first started in the coaching industry. And before Tara, I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing. But then a light bulb came on, and I was like, I think I've just been running away from it the whole time because I always
Mm-hmm.
had a passion to listen to others. And a lot of people used to tell me, Tara, like, Karen, like, you just sit down, you have an ear to actually listen. She said, you're not just listening, but you're intaking what they're saying. You have the patience to listen to others and sympathize what they're going through, where versus
Yes.
other people can't do that because it takes more than to just listen. You have to intake and you have to sympathize and you have to be able to connect with that person's story, what they've
Absolutely.
been through, what they're saying. And,
Absolutely.
I really never thought about that. And I got to thinking one day and I was like, yeah, I do. And, when I started the group and I had started the group in 2017 on Facebook, I'm just like, everybody's doing similar things. I was like, maybe this is just a side thing. I was like, I don't really want to go through the hustle and bustle. I was just thinking about what I didn't want to do, what Karen didn't want to
Hmm.
do. And I was
I love it.
like,
What Karen didn't want to do.
right, right. And I'm like, Karen, it's not about you. The light bulb came on during the pandemic. It's not about you. Um,
Yeah,
you have a heart for helping people, like you said, Tara, to become what they are. You
the
sympathize
truth.
with them. You listen.
Hmm.
So just because someone else is in the same niche or area or career that you are, you have a different, unique approach to a different audience. And that's what I had to share with the women. I said, yeah, I felt like that too, but I had to learn. Tara, I had to learn. I had to go to seminars. I had to listen to other women who was already in the industry.
Yes.
I had to find out what it was that I needed to do in my area. But first, I had to learn from someone else and understand their path, and that I had to understand my path. So, like you said, it's not that you're not that you're behind, you're right where you're supposed to be, because you
100%.
have to grow from the area where you're at, and you have
Yeah.
to get to that place, and you have to be comfortable with that place
Right.
sometimes, because sometimes you may feel like you're behind and this person may be out there speaking in front of thousands or hundreds or whatever. You may want to become a professional speaker through your coaching or through what other area you may be doing business wise or entrepreneur wise, but there is something that we all have to learn. It's not that you're behind, it's that you have to stay in the season that you're in until you get to the next
I
season.
I love that you said the season because I think, I just want to bring the listeners back. This is that whole idea when you're comparing yourself, I'll take a example of my own life is that, I have stories around I don't have a bachelor's degree. I haven't
Hmm.
finished it yet. And so I have there is a story like, oh, I can't get as far as I want in my career
Hmm.
because that's holding me back. And I can go get it at any point in time. I have tried to get it in the past, but it didn't work
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
um there's or I'm 54 now, so I should be making X amount of money, or I should be in this kind of relationship, or my child should be XYZ, or I should have so many investments. We have these stories that I think are culturally impressed upon us
Yeah.
that you should be somewhere at a certain age and a certain time in
Hmm.
your life. And really, it's not about that because wherever you are, like you said, is exactly where you were to be. And somebody
Yeah.
said to me yesterday, she was talking to a mentor, a dear friend of mine. She was talking to a mentor, and her mentor said, "You're simply not ready. Like if you don't have the thing you say you want, it isn't because you don't deserve it. It isn't because you can't achieve it. It's because you're simply not ready, because you are still
Right.
becoming whoever
Hmm.
this person is, to open yourself to whatever that is that you think that you want, or whatever it is, like whatever thing you think you should be at this time.
Yeah.
You're not that because you're not there yet. And I don't even want to say, I don't like saying it that you're not there yet, because it really is about you are in that space of becoming.
Yeah.
And I think we often forget to even stop and look at, who have I become? What have I accomplished? What have I
Yeah.
achieved at this point in time? Who am I right now? And I
Mm.
think that also takes us out of the present moment, right? Because we're always looking
Right.
for, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need? Where can I be? Where can I be? What can I get? What can I get? Like it's like this
Yeah.
weird human condition in the Western world. I can't say it's like that for everybody, but I mean, in our Western culture, it's very much of, where can I be? Where can I get? How am
Yeah.
I going to get there? Instead of, who am I right now? Who am I?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, I wanted to also ask you, when was a turning point for you? Like, in your journey, in your life, as opening up this coaching practice, you have a cosmetics business, you have podcasts. I mean, you are moving and shaking. You are getting your voice out there. You are being in your truth, standing in your truth. What was the turning point for you, really, when you stopped worrying about, am I ever going to get there or what would I not have? Like, what was the turning point for you?
I would say the turning point, Tara, was I had to get out of self and say, and tell myself, Karen, you can do this. And I think the focal point was I can't think about or worry about in the back of my mind if I'm gonna make it or not, or if I'm going to fail or not. Because what we need to realize is that when you fail at something, failing is success.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that you have to go and pivot, and you've got to do something else or do something different or whatnot. So I had to take that from the back of my mind and said, Karen, you have the resources here, you have the help, go ahead and do. And then I had to realize, wait a minute, I'm just not subject to one thing. I realized that, okay, I can be a calm. I know a lot of people be like, oh, what is that? And a lot of people now have heard of it. Like a common means I can, do more than one thing. I can be whatever I want to be. I can take a shot at this, especially if that's my calling. And like you said before, just brainstorming and asking yourself the questions: am I supposed to do this now, or I'm supposed to wait on this, or can I do both? Can I start both of these brands? Can I start both of these brands? What do I need to start both of these brands, and what help do I need? I know a lot of times we'll just go ahead and start something. We don't even ask anybody, but we
Mm-hmm.
need help. We have to ask others because others have went through trial and error, and we'll have to
Right.
do it too. And
Right.
so my turning point was, okay, um, I'm brainstorming, and I was preparing like 2 years before, and I knew, me being in the healthcare industry and me having my own problems in health, as well as eating the right things, skincare, and all that. And I said, the name came to me like I prepared. I had already wrote down the name and everything. That's how I knew I was supposed to do it, because I was
Mm-hmm.
preparing for it. And I took my time
You were
after the
getting
right.
getting things coming into your
I was getting
mind.
things coming and the names kept
Mm-hmm.
coming up and I was writing down, but I didn't like start them all together. Like, um, I was working on the coaching practice for two whole years before I did the
The
skincare.
others came together. I have a
Right.
question in regards to that. What was the biggest mental challenge or the mental construct that you had to overcome within you? I know for me, it's always been self-worth of not enough or I'll never be chosen. Like I have these old patterns or
Hmm.
stories from childhood.
Hmm.
What was the biggest one for you? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that.
Hmm.
And yeah, share more about that.
I think my mental challenge was like, am I going to get the support that I need? And
Am I supported?
yeah, am
Hmm.
I supported? And then I had to realize, and talking with other counselors, and they were like, you have to receive rejection. You'll have to be able to accept it, because everybody that is close to you and may be close to you may not accept what you're doing.
What you're up
So
to.
exactly. So I had to kind of like accept that. If I had to never talk to anybody or knew or just actually confided in someone that I trusted, I never would have known that or whatever. But
Yeah.
sometimes it does hurt. Let's like we talking about mental. Let's be honest. It does hurt
Hmm.
when someone is not supporting you that you think
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
close to you when you support them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, I think that definitely is that's probably a subconscious line that runs in the back of my mind too. Like I'm not
Hmm.
supported. And hey,
Hmm.
anybody listening that shows up as lower back pain, when you have lower back pain, it's because you internally believe that you're not supported. You don't
Right.
feel supported in your life. And I think, it's funny, not that this conversation is about this, but I always bring it back to that is like, that's when you fall back on God because God is always
Yeah.
supporting you. And when you were talking
Hmm.
about, you were hearing the names, you were hearing the voices, like I just got chills. You hear what your calling is when you allow yourself to surrender and just be open to that journey, be open to that process. So it's, yeah, that's
Yes.
really beautiful because I know it takes something to be doing all that you're doing.
Yeah.
It takes
Exactly.
something. It takes
Hmm.
something. It takes commitment. It takes drive. It takes courage to continually move past that story
Yeah.
of I don't think I'll be supported. And then you just kept going anyways. You just kept going and kept
Right.
going. And now you have this amazing, you have all kinds of amazing things going on. Your coaching business, your coaching practice, your podcasts and yes, it's amazing. It's really amazing. The thing that I really love about this topic that I don't think gets focused enough on is oh, yeah, there it is. Like the whole contrast between survival versus becoming.
Hmm.
And I think so often, I know for myself as a single mother, survival is a constant thing that I have to battle against.
Yes.
That being in your, because when you're operating from survival, you don't have clear choice. You don't have powerful choice. You're often operating from purely survival, which then puts you in this non-logical thinking and
Hmm.
you can make choices that you may regret. And so when you're becoming in this space, and that's where I think that it's a fine line when we're worried about where we're not, because
Yeah.
when we're worried about where we're not, we are in survival. When
Right.
we're in the present, that is really when we're getting to soak in that essence of who we are becoming. And I
Yeah.
think that's a piece that's really missed a lot. So I would love to hear your thoughts about that and what you've seen for yourself and maybe even some things that you do to pull you out of that survival mode.
I would say some things that I will pull me out of that survival mode, just knowing um, that I'm going to be taken care of, that things are going to work out the way it's going to work out. And you actually said it earlier, Tara, that, you know, God supports us 100%. Like if I know that, well, and if I believe that, we could know it, but it's about believing that. I think more so times we rely on people, and He's trying to get us
Mm-hmm.
out of leaning on people so much. I know we have a relationship with people, but He wants us to have a close connection with Him and to know that, hey, like, you can do this. That I'm going to support you every step of the way, even if no one else doesn't. And so,
Mm-hmm.
just taking myself out of the survival mode, even me as well. Tara, being a single mother, my daughter, she's now 18, and the whole time that I was going through what someone called it, it could be baby blues, it could be just anything. Even though I had a village, even though I had my parents, because they have
Mm-hmm.
always been a big part of me
That's
and my
awesome.
daughter's life.
Mm-hmm.
You still feel like it's it's just me against the world. It's just me against the world.
Yes.
And then, God was like, well, what do you think about what do you think that I'm doing? I'm here with you. I may not be here with you physically, but you can feel me, you can feel my presence, and you can see that I'm working things out. But even sometimes you just feel like that somebody needs to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to be there to be able to understand you, and you still
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm doing this all alone, but you're really
Right.
not you're really not doing it all alone. So it's like, let me take myself out of survival mode and let me go and do what I need to do for my family, for my children. I know that this person may not be a part of my child's life or whatnot, but she has me, she has a village, or he has me and he has a village. And so I
Mm-hmm.
have to know that I can move along through the world without worrying about if somebody's going to come to my rescue, because I know that it's going to work
Right.
out.
Right. I think too, that's so like so many people are waiting for somebody to come to their rescue when the
Yeah.
somebody they're waiting for is right there in the mirror. And
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
like really looking at who you are
Right.
and are you going to rescue you? Because
That's good.
right? Because we do put so much emphasis on who's going to save me? The government's going to save me. The corporation's going to save me. My
Yeah.
teacher's going to, no, nobody's going to save you. It's that whole, I always love that. I don't know if you know that little story about the man who there was a flood and he said, God, save me. And so, like, a guy comes by on a boat and he says, no, God's going to save me. And so then a guy comes by with a helicopter.
Yeah,
He says, no, God's going to save me until eventually he drowns. And then he gets to heaven and he's like, God, he's like, I sent you a boat. I sent you the
that's
helicopter.
right.
I
Yeah.
sent you all the things, but you didn't do anything with it, because you were looking outside of yourself
Yeah,
to
we
be
missed it.
saved. Yes. And
Hmm.
and I think in this state of becoming, and I take it back to the title of this podcast, Rooted and Rising. When you are becoming, that's when you're really looking in deep and you are rooting. You are
Yeah.
rooting in who am I? What resources can I provide for myself?
Hmm.
And not to say that you shouldn't look out there for support, because there are definitely people
Right.
there to support you, right?
Right.
But it's I think it's a fine line, again, shifting from that victim mentality into
Hmm.
you're being your own hero. And
Right.
these, I actually said it in my very first podcast, which is called, it's about being in the gap. And that's when
Uh-huh.
this show is Intuitive Mentor Mom. I love that whole theory about being in the gap, because that's that space between that survival and becoming. That's that
Yeah.
space where you think, "Oh, I don't have enough, or I'm not in the career I should be, and I don't have the role or the title I should have." Blah, 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 blah. And that's
Yeah.
when you're in that survival mode. And almost I would say that would be the trigger or the tool for those of you listening, is that when you find that you're having those conversations with yourself, like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I don't have the title. Oh, I don't have the boyfriend or the girlfriend," or, "Oh,
Right.
my kid isn't, getting XYZ at
Hmm.
school," or,
Hmm.
"Oh, whatever you think you don't have or you're not doing, that's the trigger to stop. Because
Exactly.
actually, if you stop, pull it all in, and look around your entire life and literally, I like to say, count your blessings.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Like, we woke up today. That's a blessing. I woke up.
Exactly.
I woke
That.
up.
Yeah.
My son woke up. Like, that's a blessing. I got my
Hmm.
son to school on time. The car didn't break down. I got a job. Like, those are the blessings,
Yeah.
or my health feels okay today, or it's better than yesterday, or hey, it doesn't feel good today, but there's something I can do about that. It's like we start looking at the things we've accomplished,
Hmm.
and that
Hmm.
brings us back to presence versus worrying about what we don't have.
Yeah. Like speaking positive, like all those affirmations that you were just speaking, Tara, like you were just
Hmm.
speaking positive. I may not
Yeah.
feel good now, but I feel a little bit better than I did yesterday.
Right.
Just speaking, like you said, those positive affirmations.
Yes. Yes. And it's funny. I just saw a little trigger word on here: income and milestones. Yeah. Like, I mean, income is a big one, I think, in this country, where the
Yeah.
majority of the world is worried about not making
Uh-huh.
enough income and
Hmm.
thinking they should make more and trying to figure out how they're going to make more. And I often talk about, what it would be like to just sell it all and go to a quiet place where
Yes.
life isn't such a grind like that, you know?
Exactly.
Like, where you could actually be present in your body, in your life, with your
Hmm.
family, with
Hmm.
your children. And and that's hard, as a single mom, a single woman, single parent, period, man or woman. It's not easy in this country, because
Exactly.
I'm constantly in my head about, I'm not being present enough for my son. I'm not spending enough time with my son. And so then I remind myself, when I get caught up in that wheel, I'm like, you know what, Tara, like I did last night. It was time for bed. I went and laid next to him and we just had a nice conversation right before, the
Yeah.
lights were already out. But I was like, I'm going to squeeze in some quality time, because
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm not giving him enough, when in fact I am. But I'm going to just go ahead and just be present in this moment. I'm not going to
Yeah.
worry about, we need to be in bed. It's 9:30. Oh my God, you have to get up at this
Right.
time. And oh my God,
Right.
we have to be up at 5:30. I was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to lay here and talk to him. I'm not going to worry
Yeah.
about any of that stuff.
Precious moments. Yeah.
Yeah, precious
And when you
moments.
say income, Tara,
Oh,
that is the
that's
norm,
such
because
a,
I have been guilty of it. I have to say I have been guilty of it, but it's about walking, like you said, walking in your truth and trusting the process. Yes, we know that everything takes money, and a lot of us may not be making what we desire to make. A lot of us are in the entrepreneur world, and we may be working part time or something on the side. I don't know. Or maybe God has told you that, hey, stop focusing on the income and focus on your purpose and your future. But you got to trust me
Right.
for the income part. But our
Yes.
minds won't grasp it that we just
That
need to calm down.
we could have a whole show just on that, like trusting in
Yes.
God's process
Ooh,
to provide you that income.
yeah.
Let's talk about that because that's a big
Yeah.
one. Tell me more.
It's a
Say
big
more
one.
about
It's a
that.
big
Mm-hmm.
one. Woo. You know, let's say well, this is a true story, even with me, and I'll just share a little bit about me to the audience, and I'm pretty sure somebody out there probably has been through this, but I've been in healthcare since 2009. I love working with patients, and that's why I decided to do a dual enrollment certification and do integrative health coaching as well as master life purpose coaching because I know that I had a background of my own with health and everything like that. And I said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I want to help other people with autoimmune disorders, what they can eat and do better while still taking medicine or reduce the medicine or come off the medicine. But I
Yeah.
said, hey, Lord, I still want to work healthcare on the side. Maybe PRN is needed or part time. Okay, so when I got PRN later
Mm-hmm.
on, after doing different, being in the hospital field, working with different doctors. So recently I got PRN, and other
And
than
tell the audience what PRN is.
PRN is a as needed, so it's not you can make as many hours
Mm-hmm.
or that you want, or you make less hours. It's not a demand. They just ask you,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can you work for such and such while they're on vacation? And either
Mm-hmm.
you can work that day or you don't. Mostly people will take PRN if they have full time positions. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, I don't have a full time position. I'm just in my business full time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
PRN. And as I was looking at these full time positions, keep in mind too, God will take when I say take the taste or the feeling away from you trying to get more hours and full time, that's exactly what he did with me. So I was always
Mm-hmm.
available when somebody was on vacation. I was like, yeah, I can work that because I was trying to get hours, you guys. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
God, I need to invest more in the business and stuff like that. But God was like, wait a minute. Thought you said that you was going to trust me. You told me you only to work PRN. So when they kept calling me for hours, you guys, and this is a true story about me, and really, I started looking at the phone and I started saying no because I know what I told God, and God was uh, taking that feeling away. Because He
Mm-hmm.
said it's like you want to work full time for this company when you
Mm-hmm.
have a full time business, but you're worried about the income.
Yep.
So I stopped being available every time they called, and they was like, "Well, Karen, do
Mm-hmm.
you have a full time position yet?" And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, you all know I'm full time in my business," and they was like, "Oh." Well, I was gonna get you some more hours. And so my mind was looking at the income. And then I heard the Holy
Mm-hmm.
Spirit said, oh, are you going to trust me? Or is this your company? Are you going to
Mm-hmm.
give your time to this company and neglect yours or what? And so I stopped answering. Like just yesterday, they asked me, can you work for somebody? And I was like, no. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so that to me is totally walking walking on that path to trusting, even though I don't know what's coming, but I still have to walk that straight path and trust God.
Yep. That's so funny you mentioned that because I'm in a very similar situation right now. I was laid off last week and
Hmm.
in a very similar situation. And I opened up this practice on the side called Sold Spaces where I go and do energy alignment for real estate agents and property listings. And
Hmm.
that really opened up. It kind of blew up the moment I launched it.
Hmm.
And so the day that I relaunched this podcast, Rooted and Rising, the next day
Hmm.
I was laid off. I actually then had several appointments with new clients, and that's just been a week now. Um,
Yeah.
and there's a fear of like, oh God, I need to go get another job. I need to go get another job.
Uh
But
huh. Uh
there's the
huh.
other piece of like, well, maybe it's a part-time job because I'm supposed to do this job because God has aligned and opened this up for me.
Hmm.
And it is my purpose. It is my truth. All these things started bubbling up even with the podcast because the
Uh huh.
podcast is yet another extension of the truth
Hmm.
of who I am. And so it is funny. And it is that piece, those that are listening,
Yeah.
you have to trust and have faith. And that's the scary part.
Oh yeah.
And when I say scary, it's not, Listen, here's true story about me. I mean, I've lost everything before. I've lost my house. I walked out, my car was gone. I was like, well, guess I got repoed today. You know, I was like, I have
Yeah.
been there. I have lost everything before. And in this position that I'm at, I don't feel the fear or the shame that I
Right.
felt during those
Hmm.
times because that was many years ago.
Hmm.
Now I just feel like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you, but you're gonna have to show me. And I think
Yeah.
that's the other piece is you have to ask. And this is
Yes.
these are those spaces of becoming, right? This
Hmm.
is where you're polishing your stone. You're polishing
Yes.
your who you are and you're polishing your character.
Yes.
And I had
Yes.
told people in a couple episodes back where I was like, you want to ask yourself, who were you for yourself that day? And where did you take the stand for yourself?
Hmm.
What are the things you put in place to keep shifting who you say you are in this world?
Right.
Where and basically what it's saying is where did you sell out on yourself today and where did you choose not to sell out on yourself? And that's an interesting place to be, especially in America,
Yeah.
where, and there's a lot of people that I know that listen to the show, you're not here in America. But anybody who's really living in a Western civilization where the almighty dollar tends to drive our behavior
Yeah.
versus the almighty God within you, the love within you, the heart within you, that should really drive everything, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. And so I very much resonate with what you say because
Yeah.
and I think the universe, God, however you want to say it, does that where you're like, I'm gonna go be X. And then the universe says, oh, really?
Right.
Let's just
Right.
see. Do you really want to go do that? Because I'm going to dangle this over here. What about this over
Exactly.
here? You're like, no, 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 no. I'm going to stay straight. No, but what about this over here? And it's that navigating
Yes.
that space, and it's the balance of survival versus truth within you, and allowing yourself to fully become who you came here to be. And
Yes.
wouldn't that be amazing if we had a planet full of people who came here to be fully who they came to be versus, just being the minions of everything that the news or the media is telling you to do, just follow that. Like, no, like get connected to source, get connected to who you are, root in,
Yes.
and then you rise, and then you rise.
I
So, what
love
else
it.
would you like to share about this space of becoming? And, you know, um, I would love for you to share, how when coaching the women that you work with, what are things that you would offer them? If somebody came to you and you said, she's in a state of survival, and she has all the stories of why it's not working.
Hmm.
What would you suggest? What are things that you would offer?
I would say that I would suggest them. Um, I help a lot with identity crisis because I believe that a lot
Mm,
of people, just go into identity crisis mode and they like, I don't know what I'm doing. All these
yep,
things are not working out. What should I be doing? And I
yep.
think offering them that, hey, let's just discover who you are. That's what I
Mm,
offer. Let's just discover who you are, where you're supposed to be. Forget about, what he or she said about you, but who do you think that you are? And so that's number one. Let's discover. Let's have a conversation about you yourself. Um, Relationship is important when you're working with clients. Relationship, getting to know them so they can become comfortable with you. Because if they don't become comfortable with you and they think that you're just like, everybody else trying to talk them down or,
hmm.
they won't come to you. So I would say, you know, personal development and identity crisis is something that I work with a lot with people before even connecting with a purpose. Before you connect with purpose, you need to know your true,
Who
authentic
you are.
identity,
Hmm.
exactly, and who you are.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think it's easy, especially people who are parents. It's easy to begin to see your identity solely as the parent,
Right.
or solely as the wife or the husband, or
Hmm.
solely as, the employee. When I think again, in a world, in a culture that's so driven to keep you disconnected, to keep you working, to keep you stressed, And
Yeah.
there's a whole reason for that too. That's a whole another other conversation.
Yes.
They want to keep you sick, but
Right.
it is very easy to lose who you are
Yeah.
and
Oh
to
yeah.
forget who you are and to forget the importance that, you can't actually be the best version of you for your family if you don't even know who you are.
Right.
If you don't take
Correct.
that time to really reflect in who you are and pull back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the reflection questions here that was written down is, where am I judging myself for being behind? And that goes back to, what we were talking about. That trigger point is when you notice that you're over there chasing something, whatever it
Right.
is, you're chasing something. If you're chasing anything, whether it's a relationship, a job, the money, the household chores, if you're
Hmm.
chasing it, that's when you're in that survival mode. And I just want to say household chores.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I have had to practice like the house is dirty, the house is dirty. And the
Yeah.
house is just going to stay dirty. And that's okay, Because when I was
Yeah.
single, you never knew I had dogs or cats. The house was always so damn clean. Now that, single mom, I'm like, well, the house is dirty and it's okay. But even practicing that,
Yeah.
because as a single parent, it's 10 o'clock at night, you're like, okay, I got to do the dishes now. Okay, but I could do, like, you can always find something else to
It's like
do.
we're always up doing something. It's like
Yeah.
it's time to settle down.
Yes. And even last night I did it. I was, Tara, you're going to sit right down and you're just going to sit and you're
Uh-huh.
not going to do
Uh-huh.
anything. But I was like, oh,
That's
but I have
right.
to do this PDF and I have to write this up and I have to go work on this other house and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, nope, it's 7 o'clock,
Hmm.
girl. You have
Yeah.
to give yourself time. Like, we have to remember to give
Yeah.
ourselves that time because
Yeah.
that's the becoming.
Hmm.
Those are the spaces, the silence, the rest, the
Yes.
relaxation,
Need that
the,
rest.
yeah, the decompression, the decompression. So, another thing you brought up that I see here too, that you brought up, you use the term season, and I love
Hmm.
that term season
Hmm.
to talk about before, because I know we'll wrap up here soon, but I want to talk a little bit more about the seasons and those transitions of seasons.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad that you said that, Tara, because on season one on
Mm-hmm.
my first podcast, the Dreaming Fearless podcast, I talked about different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another word too. We probably didn't mention, but it's called compromise, and that's just like comparing ourselves to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in certain seasons we try to compromise because we're trying to get to the place where we need to get to. But
Right.
seasons, it's just like we have four seasons, you guys, like spring, winter, fall, and summer. And it's like, look, just for instance, where we're getting ready to enter the fall. I don't
Yep.
know what date fall is, but it's like I'm not going. We're in summer, but I'm not going to try to catch it with fall or get into fall. It's like I'm trying to move and force myself and push myself into something where it's not my season yet for that. I have to embrace until I can. I gotta stay in summer basically because you don't.
Embrace the heat, y'all. Embrace the
Yeah,
heat.
embrace the heat. Like, still wear your sandals and stuff like that. But it's like I'm going to embrace what's happening this summer. This summer,
Yeah.
there may be a lot of things. There may be some good things going on, or there may be some things that's not okay. But we'll work out. Like you were saying, Tara, you got to speak positive. Say, I know this is going to work out before it hits. But I need to embrace the season that I am in because I can't try to get to fall
Right.
knowing that it's still summer. I've got to wait until that season turn, and I think a lot of us we don't want to wait. We don't want to be patient. Patient is a hard word. I know it's easier said than done, but we
Oh
have
my
to be
God.
patient because everything takes time in its season. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to be patient.
It is. Everything takes time in its season. And I love that because you can absolutely bring it back to the metaphor of the actual seasons.
Hmm.
A tree doesn't just grow
Right.
overnight. It
Right.
literally is, there's this whole developing process happening under the soil before it pops up in the
Hmm.
soil, like everything. And as you were talking, I started thinking about, I said, now media. and consumerism in America, they will constantly push you to
Oh
leave a
yeah.
season and get into a new one 3 months before the one. They're like pushing you into, well, I'm sure Christmas is going to be coming out any day now.
Oh
And
yeah.
and then they're gonna want everybody living in Christmas.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Mhm.
and I'm one of those people, it's not that I resist, and I used to work in that industry. And so,
Mhm.
I used to work on the design side of that industry and in the garment industry and the whole seasons and the pushing. And now, I mean, Valentine's Day stuff is
Oh
coming
wow.
out like on January, and then Easter's coming out in February. And it's like, girl,
Right.
just, it's all about pushing you to spend more money, more money, more money. And
Exactly.
that, I think that also can trigger it can trigger your mindset to fall out of the presence of your own
Mhm.
season because they're
Yeah.
pushing and they're driving it from a consumer standpoint, and it's constantly thrown in your face. And that's another opportunity for you to recognize, where am I doing that to myself?
Right. Right.
You
Mm.
know, where am I? If you don't have the six-figure income, it's probably
Exactly.
because you're not ready for it.
Right.
I haven't hit the
Mhm.
multi-million-dollar income because I'd probably lose it all the next day because I'm not in a place where I could properly, and I like this word, I don't know that I would be a good steward of that kind
Right.
of money yet. Now,
Right.
can I build
Exactly.
up to that? Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? You don't
Right.
have the love of your life in your relationships yet or in your life. Well, then there's something about who you're being that you need to look at. Could you receive the love of your life, or would you push him or
Exactly.
her
Push them
away?
away. Yeah.
Right? Have you healed enough in your own heart that you can receive that person, or are you going to push them away? And I can't stress it enough. When my girlfriend said that yesterday, she was like, "Yeah, you're my this mentor I was talking to said, I'm just not ready." And I saw it in a different light that I'd never seen it before. Because it's
Yeah.
not that we're saying you're not ready. Of course you're ready. You're ready
Exactly.
right now.
Right.
But the only person in the way is you.
It's you.
Therefore, you're not ready because you're
Exactly.
pushing something away, or you got some stinking thinking, or something with worth, or whatever it is. Like, God is like, hey, I'll give it to you right now, but you're in the way. And so
Exactly.
what do you have to get out of the way of? And I feel like I'm collapsing a few things and going off
But
on a
I'm glad that you said that because it made me think about what I shared uh, today on my coaching hub on my YouTube channel. That most times we can be inconsistent with our desires when we
oh
ask for something.
yes.
We're not being consistent. Oh, because it hasn't came yet. Oh, I don't know if I and I've done that some seasons ago, and I even had to apologize and repent for that. I was like,
Yep.
just because it went my way or it ain't came, I'm talking about. Oh well, I'm not even thinking about it. Are you telling the truth? Do you really mean that? So it was like,
Right.
be consistent with the desires of your heart.
Yes, I love that. Be consistent with the desires of your heart. I got chills when you said that, and I'm getting chills right now
Yeah.
because it is being
Woo.
consistent. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the desires of your heart. It's
Hmm.
so important. And very much what you just said. You're sitting there saying, I want, I want, I want. Well, it isn't here yet. So it's never going to happen. And it's not, no,
Hmm.
it's going to happen, but you
Yeah.
got to stay desiring it. You have to live as if it has already
Really
happened.
happened. I love that.
Hmm.
Yes. So
Hmm.
true.
Yeah. And you just stand in that. So, well, what would you like to say to wrap things up today? Because I just want to say really enjoyed having you on the show. And for the listeners, her and I just met. Like, I just met this beautiful woman, and she's like, I want to be on your show. I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And it just feel like we've been knowing each other for so
Yeah.
long. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I ran into
Yeah.
Tara. I just want to thank you for having me and
Yes.
audience. Thank you so much for listening to this great conversation. I just wanted to um, just encourage you all to just be you, be authentic you, and just some small things that are coming up. I have, if you would like to follow me,
Yes. Yes. Please tell
Tara
us
would
where
definitely.
where
Oh,
where they can
I will
find you.
tell you.
Yep.
I'm on YouTube as Coach Karen Oliver, on Instagram, official Karen Oliver, LinkedIn, Karen Oliver, Facebook, Karen Oliver. Anything outside of that, there's emails and links where you can schedule a consultation if you want.
Great.
I do have a book coming out this year. I don't have a date yet. Actually,
That's
to be honest,
amazing.
didn't know it's actually going to be three books that I
Oh
did
my
not
gosh.
realize that I had, and I was trying to do them as one, but it's going to basically it's for single women and single men that desires to get married. It's called Slaying Johnson, My Singlehood, and then the
I'm sorry, what is
devotional
it called? What is it called?
Slaying Giants in My Singlehood.
Slaying giants in my singlehood. I love that. I love
Yes,
that.
and well, anybody can. It can be anybody. And then I also did a devotional called Bloom Baby Bloom, where me and Tara was pretty much talking some about how we need to grow and we need to
Hmm.
grow in different seasons of our life. And so actually, it talks about that, and then it also comes with a journal. So if you would like to subscribe to the email list, just follow me on those social media platforms so you can know when
Yes.
that date comes out.
And I'll have all of that in the show notes too. So,
Okay.
yeah. I'm just going to wrap everything up. I want to thank everybody for joining us today on Rooted and Rising and really just leaving all of you with, recognize when you're in those states of thinking you need to be somewhere, thinking you need more, thinking you're not where you should be, and just bringing it back into center, presencing yourself and remembering that you are in a state of becoming in that very moment. That very moment, these like it's like a flower. It's like when a flower blooms. Has anybody listening, if you go Google slow motion flower blooming and watch like a rose blooming in slow motion, or I guess it's not slow motion. I think they like speed it up so then you can see the full thing. I mean, it's like you're morphing into this beautiful human being with all the layers peeling, and whatever is showing up for you in that moment is perfectly designed for you in that moment to help you grow, to help you unfold, to help you bloom, to help you. And what you said you have, what do you have that something bloom? A show.
A devotional called Bloom Baby Bloom.
Oh,
It's
bloom,
a
baby,
devotion.
bloom. I love
Mhm.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
because we are always blooming.
Yes.
We really are. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you,
Welcome.
everybody. We
Thanks,
will
Pamela.
see you on the next episode in 2 weeks here on Rooted and Rising. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks y'all for being here. Thank you for rooting in and rising with me today. If something in this episode stirred something in you, take a breath, take what you need, and let the rest soften. Be sure to follow the show so you don't miss what's next. And if you feel called, share this episode or leave a review. It helps the space grow and reach others on the path. Until next time, may you walk with trust, speak with love, and rise in your own time. I'm so grateful you were here with us, and thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next episode.